this video, we'll focus on multiplicative comparison with number of groups unknown. But before we do that, I want us to review multiplicative comparison group size unknown. So in the last video, we talked about Jake ran 12 laps around the football field. That is 3 times as much as Caitlin ran around the football field. How many laps did Caitlin run? So we really look at, we know that Jake ran 12. So we represented Jake running 12 here. And then we said that what he ran was 3 times as much. So we were going to break this into 3 parts because I know whatever part here has got to be 3 times as much to be able to give us Jake's. So we know that if we're breaking a whole into equal parts that we can divide by 3, or you can write it as a missing factor. 3 times what equals 12? We wrote an equation, 12 divided by 3 equals L, which is our variable for the unknown, and when we solved it, we got 4 laps, okay? So here we know that Jake ran 12 laps, and his amount was 3 times greater than Caitlin's. So now what we're gonna do is for multiplicative comparison, number of groups unknown, we're gonna reuse the 3-read strategy like we've been using. And we're going to look at the difference. So I'm just going to read the problem the first time for us just to notice the difference. Because remember, we had Jake ran 12 and his amount was 3 times greater than Caitlin. So here we have Jake ran 12 miles around the football field. Caitlin ran 4 laps around the football field. And remember, we're going to leave the question out the first time. So you can see there's a difference. We know how much Jake ran and how much Caitlin ran this time. So when we look at our 3-read strategy, the first time we read is what is going on. We're not going to focus on any numbers. If you're struggling with reading word problems, take it sentence by sentence, draw pictures, but try to read it on your own. If you really are struggling, then get some help. So Jake ran 12 laps around the football field. Caitlin ran 4 laps around the football field. So basically, we've got Jake and Caitlin, and they're running around that football field. So now we're going to look at it. We're going to read it and focus on the numbers. Jake ran 12 laps around the football field. Caitlin ran 4 laps around the football field, okay? So let's kind of start modeling that. So we know that Jake, he ran 12 laps. And we know that Caitlin, she ran 4 laps, okay? So I'm going to represent Jake with 12. And I'm going to show Caitlin with 4. Now, if this is 12, I'm going to think about 4 may come, somewhere around there, okay? So now, the last thing is we look at the question. How many times as much did Jake run around the football field than Caitlin? So how many times as much, all right? So we got to think about that his number is how many times greater than this 4. And so what we want to start thinking about is how many groups of 4 are we going to need? So we have 4. So if I do another group of 4, I know that gives me 8. And then if I do another group of 4, I know that these two together will give me 12. So how many times greater is his number than Caitlin's? And it is 1, 2, 3 times greater. So I could say 12 divided by 4. How many groups of 4 do I have? I have 3. And I would have wanted to have written that, first of all, with the variable for the unknown. And I'm going to put just because we're dealing with laps, just put an L, but you can really put any variable. We're not looking for the number of laps, we're looking for the number of times greater. But the variable doesn't always have to correspond with what you're trying to solve. All right, well, I hope you have now seen the 3 different types of multiplicative comparison. And I wish you luck trying these out.